stop! Before you spend that 1972's Eisenhower dollar, put it down and look at it again. Seriously, don't skip this one, because there is a detail on this coin that most people never think to check. And here's the crazy part. The date alone does not tell you whether you have something valuable. The mint mark, the composition, the condition, the reverse design, and especially any genuine mint error can completely change the story. So if you have a 1972's Eisenhower dollar in your collection, grab it right now. Put it under a bright light. Turn it over, look at both sides. Because in just a moment, I'm going to show you exactly what serious collectors look for, and one of these details could be hiding right in front of you. First, let's identify what you're holding. The Eisenhower dollar was created to honor President Dwight D. Eisenhower, and the reverse celebrates one of America's greatest achievements, the Apollo 11 moon landing. That's already enough to make this coin historically fascinating, but collectors don't stop there. They want to know exactly how the coin was produced, where it was made, what metal it contains, how well it survived, and whether it has a recognized variety or a genuine minting era. Now look at the front of your coin. You should see President Eisenhower facing left. Look underneath the portrait. Do you see the date? 1972. Now look carefully for the small letter S. That S tells you the coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint. But don't make the mistake of thinking that the S automatically means you have a rare coin. It doesn't. That's only the beginning of the investigation. And this is where things get interesting. San Francisco produced collector versions of Eisenhower dollars, including silver issues. So one of the first questions you need to answer is, what exactly is your 1972 made of? If you don't know the composition, you don't really know what you're looking at yet. Take the coin and examine the edge. Look for the color of the metal around the entire rim. A copper-colored line can provide a clue that you're looking at a clad coin, while the appearance of the edge can look different on a silver example. But don't rely on your eyes alone. Lighting can fool you, and wear can change the appearance of a coin. If you're seriously trying to identify the composition, weight and professional testing are much better than guessing. And please listen to this next part, because it can save you money. Do not scratch the coin. Do not cut the coin. Do not polish the coin. And don't use destructive tests just because someone online told you that's how to identify silver. If your coin turns out to be collectible, damaging the original surface can reduce its appeal and potentially its value. Now let's talk about the famous 1972 Eisenhower varieties. You may have heard people talking about the 1972 Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3 reverse. This is one of the most interesting areas of Eisenhower dollar collecting, but there's an important detail that gets misunderstood all the time. The famous scarce 1972 Type 2 variety is associated with the Philadelphia issue, the coin without a mint mark. So if you're holding a 1972's Eisenhower dollar, don't simply call it a Type 2 and assume you've discovered the famous rarity. That's a huge mistake, and this is exactly why you need to slow down when watching coin videos online. A dramatic headline might say, 1972 Eisenhower dollar worth thousands, but that doesn't mean every 1972 Eisenhower dollar is worth thousands. The exact variety matters, the mint mark matters, the condition matters, the composition matters, and authentication matters. So let's inspect your 1972 S coin properly. Turn it over. Now look at the reverse. You should see the eagle, the moon, and the earth. Take your time. Don't just glance at it. Look at the earth. Look around the area near Florida. Look at the islands. Look at the overall design. Collectors who specialize in Eisenhower dollars learn to recognize differences between reverse types and other varieties. Some differences can be subtle, and that's why magnification can be useful. But here's another warning. Not every strange-looking mark is a rare variety. Sometimes a coin has simply been damaged after leaving the mint. A scratch isn't automatically an error. A dent isn't automatically an error. A flattened letter isn't automatically an error. Machine damage isn't automatically a valuable mint error. A genuine mint error has to make sense as something that happened during the manufacturing process. That's why professional authentication can be so important when the potential value becomes significant. Now imagine you find something unusual. Maybe the strike looks off-center. Maybe part of the design appears to be missing. Maybe the edge looks strange. Maybe the coin seems to have been struck on an incorrect planchet. Your first reaction might be, I found a jackpot. But stop! Don't sell it immediately. Don't clean it. Don't let someone convince you it's worthless without explaining why. Take clear photographs, record the weight, look at the edge, compare it with trusted references, and if the feature looks genuinely unusual, have it examined by a reputable grading or authentication service, because the difference between a valuable mint error and ordinary damage can be enormous. Now let's talk about condition. This is one of the biggest secrets behind coin values. Imagine two 1972 Eisenhower dollars sitting side by side. Same date, same mint mark, same basic design. But one coin has been heavily circulated. It has scratches, dull surfaces, and worn details. The other has sharp details, clean surfaces, and excellent original appearance. Which one would collectors rather own? Obviously, the second one. Condition matters. A coin can be old without being rare. A coin can be rare without being valuable in every condition. And a common coin in exceptional condition can sometimes become much more interesting to collectors. That's why professional grading exists. You'll see terms such as circulated, about uncirculated, mint state, and proof. You'll also see numbers used to describe grades. You don't need to become a professional grader overnight, but you should understand the basic principle. Don't judge the value of your coin just by looking at its age. The condition can make a major difference. And there's another thing you need to watch for: cleaning. If your Eisenhower dollar has dark spots or looks dirty, your first instinct might be to make it shine. Don't. Collectors generally prefer original surfaces. Polishing can leave hairline scratches, harsh chemicals can alter the surface, and a coin that looks clean to you may look damaged to an experienced collector. So if you think you found something special, leave the coin alone. Handle it by the edges, keep it protected, and let a professional determine whether it deserves further attention. Now let's get back to the 1972 issue. Why does this coin attract collectors? Because Eisenhower dollars have a fascinating combination of history, size, design, and different compositions. The coin is large. The design is instantly recognizable. It commemorates one of the most important moments in American history, and different versions were produced for different purposes. That makes the series fun to collect, but there's something else that makes it exciting. The best discoveries don't always look impressive. Sometimes a valuable coin doesn't have a shiny appearance. Sometimes it's sitting in an old box. Sometimes it's inside a family collection. Sometimes it's been ignored for decades. And sometimes the difference between an ordinary example and an important collectible is one tiny detail. That's why collectors keep looking. Now let's discuss the question everybody wants answered. Could a 1972 Eisenhower dollar be worth big money? The honest answer is potentially, but not automatically. A normal 1972 coin isn't suddenly worth thousands just because it's from 1972. The high values you see online usually involve very specific circumstances. Maybe the coin has an important error. Maybe it's an exceptionally high-grade example. Maybe it's a scarce variety. Maybe it's a special composition. Or maybe it has a combination of characteristics that makes it especially desirable. That's why you should never compare your ordinary circulated coin with a professionally graded auction record and assume they're the same. They're not. And this is one of the biggest traps in online coin videos. Someone finds the highest auction price ever recorded for a particular coin and puts that number in a headline. Then viewers find a similar-looking coin and think they have the same thing. But coin values don't work that way. The exact coin has to match the characteristics that made the expensive example valuable. So here's a 5-question test you should use. Number 1, what is the exact date? Number 2, what is the mint mark? Number 3, what is the composition? Number 4, is there a recognized variety or genuine mint error? And number 5, what is the condition? If you can answer all 5 questions, you're already much closer to understanding your coin than someone who simply searched for the highest number online. Now let's talk about the weight. This is another useful clue. Different Eisenhower dollar versions have different compositions and expected weights. So if your coin weighs significantly differently than expected, that can be a reason to investigate, but don't jump to conclusions. A cheap scale can be inaccurate. Dirt can affect a measurement. Damage can affect the coin. And different versions of the Eisenhower dollar have different specifications. So weight is a clue, not a final verdict. Think like a detective. One clue isn't enough. You want multiple pieces of evidence pointing in the same direction. Now here's a question. What if your coin looks completely normal? Should you throw it back into your spending pile? Not necessarily. Even if it's not rare, it can still be a great piece of American history. Remember what this coin represents. President Dwight D. Eisenhower, the Apollo 11 moon landing. A major chapter in American history. That's why people collect these coins even when they aren't worth a fortune. The goal isn't always to find $1 million coin. Sometimes the fun is simply discovering what you actually have. But if your coin does show something unusual, that's when the investigation becomes much more exciting. Look at the date. Look at the S. Look at the reverse. Look at the edge. Look at the surfaces. Then compare. And don't rush. Because rushing is one of the easiest ways to miss something. Now here is another important point. If someone tells you all 1972 Eisenhower dollars are worth hundreds or thousands, be careful. That's an exaggeration. Most coins in any series are not the extreme rarity. The valuable examples are valuable for a reason. Maybe they have a rare error. Maybe they are in exceptional condition. Maybe they're a recognized variety. Maybe they were struck on an unusual planchet. The key word is specific. A specific characteristic can create value. The date by itself usually isn't enough, and that's the lesson you should remember for every old coin you ever find. Don't ask only, how old is it? Ask, what makes this particular coin different? That question can completely change the way you look at pocket change. Now let's imagine you're holding your 1972 Eisenhower dollar right now. You look at the front, the date is clear. You see the S, you turn it over. The reverse looks sharp. You check the edge. The coin appears to be silver or silver-like. You weigh it. The measurement seems consistent with a collector issue. Now you're interested. But don't stop there. You still need to determine the exact type and condition. And if you believe you've found something truly unusual, that's when professional grading can become worthwhile. Because a professional opinion can tell you whether the feature you're seeing is actually recognized and whether the coin's condition supports a premium. Now let's talk about storage. If you think your coin might be collectible, don't throw it loose into a drawer with other coins. Coins can scratch each other, surfaces can become damaged, and fingerprints can leave oils behind. Use an appropriate coin holder or protective storage. Keep it away from harsh chemical and avoid unnecessary handling. It sounds simple, but preservation can make a huge difference over time. Now here's the part I really want you to remember. The most exciting coin isn't always the coin with the biggest headline. Sometimes the best discovery is the coin that teaches you something. Maybe you learn how mint marks work. Maybe you learn how silver and clad coins differ. Maybe you discover a variety you never knew existed. Maybe you learn how professional grading works. And maybe, just maybe, you find a genuine rarity. That's what makes coin collecting so addictive. You never know what you're going to discover. One old coin can lead you down a rabbit hole of American history, minting technology, varieties, errors, and auction records. And the 1972 Eisenhower dollar is a perfect example. Now let's come back to the headline. Do you have one? 1972 Eisenhower dollar could be worth big money. The word could is important. Could doesn't mean every coin is valuable. It means certain characteristics may make an individual example valuable. So don't throw away your coin. But don't assume you're rich either. Investigate. That's the smart move. Now, if your 1972 Eisenhower dollar has a strange feature, here's what I would do. First, take photographs of both sides. Second, photograph the edge. Third, weigh it accurately. Fourth, record the diameter if you have the right equipment. Fifth, compare it with reputable coin references. And sixth, if it still looks unusual, get professional authentication. That's a much safer approach than trusting a random social media post. And remember, never clean it, never scratch it, never drill it, never bend it, and never let someone pressure you into selling before you understand what you have. Now we're almost at the end, but there's one final thing you need to know. The famous 1972 Eisenhower variety story is a perfect reminder that tiny design differences can matter enormously. Professional references identify multiple 1972 reverse types, and the scarce Type 2 variety is particularly important. But again, don't confuse that famous Philadelphia variety with every 1972 Silver's coin. Your S-Mint coin needs to be evaluated on its own characteristics. That's the difference between responsible coin collecting and internet hype. So take another look at your coin. Is the date 1972? Is the mint mark S? What does the edge look like? What does it weigh? What does the reverse look like? Does anything appear unusual? Is the coin heavily circulated or does it have exceptional surfaces? And most importantly, can you explain why your coin is different? If you can answer those questions, you're doing exactly what serious collectors do. And if you can't answer them yet, that's okay. That's what the hunt is about. Research, inspection, comparison, and discovery. So before you spend that 1972 Eisenhower dollar, give it one more look. Because a coin that appears ordinary from 3 feet away can look completely different under a magnifying glass. And that's where the excitement begins. Maybe you'll discover nothing unusual. Maybe you'll find a nice historical coin worth keeping, or maybe you'll spot something that makes you stop and say, "Wait, what is that?" If that happens, don't rush. Take pictures, protect the coin, do your research, and get an expert opinion. Because when it comes to rare coins, the biggest mistake isn't failing to find a treasure. The biggest mistake is finding something potentially important and spending it before you ever realized what you had. So, check your 1972 S Eisenhower dollar. Check the date. Check the S mint mark. Check the composition. Check the edge. Check the reverse. Check the condition. Check for genuine errors. And remember this one simple rule: don't trust the headline, trust the detail. If you have an Eisenhower dollar at home, go get it. Turn it over. Look closely. You might discover nothing, but until you check, you'll never know. And that's exactly why collectors keep searching, because somewhere out there, another old coin is waiting to be examined, and maybe the next one will be yours.